Salamat berjumpa lagi. Welcome to Asean Today. I'm Dalton Tanonaka of Indonesia's Metro TV at the ASEAN Secretariat in Jakarta.
สวัสดีค่ะ This is Natha Gomolwatin of Thai PBS in Bangkok, and this is your monthly look at the dynamic Southeast Asia region. We begin in Malaysia, where Prime Minister Najib Razak announced a new cabinet after a tough re-election. Najib met with the country's king a week after the May 5th election. He needed consent on the list of 30 ministers and 27 deputies. The members of cabinet include experienced ministers and younger faces, along with technocrats and civil society representatives.
Saya menyifatkan kabinet ini sebagai sebuah kabinet yang mampu meneruskan dan seterusnya menjayakan agenda transformasi nasional. Dan di samping itu dapat meningkatkan kepercayaan dan keyakinan rakyat.
Najib's Barisan National Party retained power despite its worst ever electoral performance. Barisan won 133 seats in the 222-member parliament, but only 47% of the popular vote.
Midterm elections in the Philippines on May 13th saw the political return of a former president. Joseph Estrada was elected mayor of Manila 12 years after he was removed from the presidency in an anti-corruption revolt.
I'm overwhelmed because the people are giving me that trust and confidence again.
The majority of candidates supported by President Benigno Aquino were winners, meaning ongoing support in the final 3 years of his term. Other election winners included former First Lady Imelda Marcos and her children Bongbong and Aimee. Philippine relations with Taiwan took a hit when a crew member on a Taiwanese fishing boat was killed by Philippine Coast Guard gunfire on May 9th. The Philippine government says the Taiwanese vessel tried to ram one of its ships inside Filipino waters. Taiwan has since imposed sanctions and urged residents not to travel to the Philippines. The area of the incident is part of disputed territorial waters in the South China Sea, where 5 ASEAN members and China are claiming sovereignty.
Thailand changed a prison procedure that aligns with international human rights standards. The country's highest security prison, Bang Kwang, released 563 inmates from shackles that weigh up to 5 kilograms each. At this ceremony on May 15, Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra said the change is a reflection of a changing philosophy in the prison system. The inmates will still have to use the shackles when they are outside of the prison. The campaign is expected to be implemented nationwide within 3 months.
Relief is getting closer for frustrated motorists here in Indonesia's capital. Governor Joko Widodo launched construction of the capital's mass transit system on May 2nd, saying a 24-year wait is over. The initial line will run from South Jakarta to the heart of the city at the Hotel Indonesia Circle, with the first train expected to roll in 2017. 6 companies, including Japanese firms, are involved in the project, with initial cost set at $2.4 billion.
Booming business in Myanmar is forcing companies to move out of Yangon. Over the past 3 years, rental costs have gone up 3 times, in some cases 4. The limited supply of quality office buildings is the reason, as the speed of new construction has fallen behind demand. Myanmar is opening wider to international investors, following democratic reforms and the ending of sanctions by trading partners. But because of the steep increases, companies are relocating to areas outside the business capital. Office rent in Yangon has surpassed real estate prices in Singapore and Manhattan, now ranking 11th in the world. Handicraft makers in Vietnam are applying traditional skills to new products in winning new global customers.
Grabbing the attention of budget-conscious buyers was the goal of handicraft producers at this recent trade fair, Lifestyle Vietnam 2013, in Ho Chi Minh City. They needed to impress representatives from the US, Europe, Japan, and other markets. Wen Trong Lee caught buyers' eyes with his new twist on stock products. He put traditional embroidery on bamboo screens, coasters, and blinds using vibrant designs in a festive fusion.
Làm nan, thế rồi cái nghề dệt truyền thống và cái nghề thêu truyền thống Tức là một lúc một cái sản phẩm nó bao hàm được ba cái lao động sáng tạo của cái nghề thủ công. Thế và cũng có bán lẻ thì mới chỉ là bán lẻ, mới bán được hơn chục bức bán lẻ. Thế còn cái hợp đồng số lượng mà sau này là nhiều.
To make decorative blinds, workers must weave together thousands of strands of bamboo fiber and cotton yarn. The embroidery is then sewing onto the curtain to complete the picture. A 2-meter-long piece takes up to 2 weeks to finish.
Nghĩ là người nước ngoài quan tâm thích cái sản phẩm tái chế này vì nó thiên về môi trường và nó mới, nó lạ.
Vietnamese fine art and handicraft products are currently being shipped to more than 150 countries, making Vietnam one of the biggest exporters in the region. The government hopes to hit a revenue target of $1.6 billion by the end of 2015, with creative items such as this. Valdia Baraputri for Asean Today.
More ASEAN Today is coming up shortly.
Membership in ASEAN may be growing. Support is building for East Timor to join. Prime Minister Xanana Guzmão is in the hot seat next. You are watching ASEAN Today from Jakarta and Bangkok.
And this is your monthly look at people and places of Southeast Asia. Support is building for ASEAN's 11th member. East Timor is seeking to join the group, hoping to benefit from expanding trade agreements in the region. I talked with East Timor Prime Minister Xanana Guzmão on a recent visit to Bangkok. Do you think you can be a full member before ASEAN community materialized by 2015?
We are still with some difficulties in human resources to, I can say, to follow all the 700 meetings a year. But I know that too much. But I know that Thailand is moving to ask for reduction, to reduce the number of meetings that we support. Before going in, we support this. I can say that it is possible.
Mm-hmm. The main natural resources in Timor-Leste is oil and gas, and you have set up petroleum fund, but you also been criticized of spending money unsustainably. What's your long-term strategy in management of oil and gas in East Timor?
You see, first, we are getting money from one field. If we have only one field, yes, we will be very careful. But if you look, if it is only one field, okay, we have this money. Now you choose, keep the money or create the conditions to grow and to free the people from poverty. You have this dilemma.
Plan A is to use the oil field, but what's your plan B for long-term development, for sustainable future?
Plan B, okay? I can accept the plan B. You know, we have now in our south coast, we have, we are going to start in 3 sites of the south coast. We are going to start the supply base for other fields. That was why I put you the question, if we have only one field, even so I will put the money to develop our country. One supply base, in the center we will have a refinery, oil refinery, and in the eastern part LNG plant. plan B. The plan A was use this money correctly to help people coming out from poverty.
You don't think it's spending too much money?
Well, in 8 years, we have already 12 billions in our petroleum fund. Until the end of that field, we will have more than 20 billion, 25 billion. Only one field. And we have more than one. Mm-hmm. And I learned.
Gusmao was the country's first president when East Timor gained independence from Indonesia in 2002. More ASEAN Today is coming up shortly.
We head to Cambodia, where tourists are helping preserve nature. And then a story about Jakarta's hidden community, how this activist is helping transgenders.
This is ASEAN Today.
And we're your monthly window into Southeast Asia. Here in Jakarta, an activist is leading the fight for acceptance and security for the transgender community. ASEAN Today's Zakia Arfan reports.
She may be a woman of a more mature age, but Julianus Retoblaut never neglects her daily beauty routine. Mami Yuli is a transsexual known as waria in Indonesia. And like many others, she once worked as prostitute. Now, as a tireless campaigner for transgender rights, she's opened shelter for those she considered to be the most vulnerable.
Menangani mereka untuk diberdayakan. Tetapi kemudian ini mereka lupa bahwa ada juga waria yang tua. Dan aku melihat bahwa banyak sekali waria tua yang kemudian tidak bisa difungsikan, seperti mereka bisa bekerja sebagai pembantu rumah tangga, atau mereka bisa bekerja sebagai pengamen, atau mereka bisa bekerja sebagai tukang pijit.
The 12 transsexuals who live here are encouraged to learn new skills such as sewing and baking, along with earning money from street performances.
Juga aku kan udah tua ya, tapi aku cerita-cerita panjang untuk saya berlindung juga. Apalagi ya aku yang malunya kan malunya masih muda, 50-an, artinya aku bisa naon bawa Yuli, maka jadi apa Yuli bisa tanggung jawab aku kan ya.
Attitudes are slowly changing in this moderate Muslim-majority country. The government will soon be helping to fund Mami Yuli's home. It's already received aid from the Catholic Church. But regular threats from hardline Islamists are a reminder that minorities face daily challenges.
Sudah bekerja sama, saya mengajak kepada teman-teman di komunitas para imam bagaimana bisa mensupport mereka untuk bisa memberikan perhatian mereka, bahwa untuk menyelesaikan persoalan tidak akan pernah mungkin. Selalu akan ada masalah atau persoalan itu.
It takes a strong will to fight for those who can fight for themselves. And a bigger battle lies ahead. Mami Yuli hopes to one day expand her home to accommodate all of Jakarta's transgender senior citizens. Zakia Arfan for ASEAN Today, Jakarta.
Here are several events on the ASEAN calendar. The World Street Food Congress 2013 will be held from May 31st to June the 9th in Singapore's F1 Pit building. Malaysia's Kota Kinabalu Jazz Festival is set to run June the 14th and 15th in the Sutira Harbour Marina in Sabah. And Asalahan Busha Day on July 22nd marks the beginning of Buddhist Lent in Laos. Preserving nature is the goal of a project in Cambodia that also serves local communities well. ASEAN Today's Andita Winda has the story.
The Cardamom region in southwest Cambodia is home to several endangered species and an abundance of natural beauty. The region was virtually closed off to outsiders for decades. With chronic poverty and few job opportunities, locals like Chung Kan trapped animals in the forest for meat. But he now works as a tour guide in this new ecotourism program to help protect the balance of nature.
មានការបបបាញ់សត្វនៅក្នុងស្រុកនេះដែលយើងអត់មានមុខរបរអីយើង bỏ bánh mà chẹt kia hộp để ăn miền là tì xa miền ấy để phơi chìm hộp của ấy nó không ở trọc chụp phát này về ăn miền tì xa lộc đồ ăn miền bẩn lẹp cài để miền để mục là bỏ bánh sạch.
The New York-based Wildlife Alliance teamed up with the local community in October 2008 to launch the Chipat community-based ecotourism project. The aim of the program is to provide villagers with incentives to protect the forest rather than exploit it in an unsustainable manner. Chipat now has 12 guest houses and 9 homestay facilities for visitors.
Ja, heute sind wir aufgebrochen, um den Dschungel ein bisschen zu erkunden, um die Natur zu sehen. Und wir haben einen Führer bei uns, der uns sehr viel berichtet, was man alles sehen kann. Und ja, ich denke, es ist ein tolles Projekt und viele Leute sollten hierher kommen, um es am Leben zu erhalten und um die Natur hier in Kambodscha zu schützen. Ja.
Ja, dieses Projekt hilft den Menschen, die Natur zu schützen und gleichzeitig dabei etwas Geld zu verdienen mit den Touristen, die hier hinkommen. Und Touristen von der ganzen Welt können hier hinkommen und sich die schöne Natur anschauen.
80% of all tourist revenue goes directly to local service providers, and the rest to a program fund for operational costs, local infrastructure, education and healthcare. This ensures that residents get adequate support while visitors enjoy the environmentally friendly experience. Andita Winda for ASEAN Today.
Feedback is good, and we like hearing from you from throughout ASEAN. Joining us with this month's comments is, as always, Diridi Sidichanya of the ASEAN Secretariat. Dee, what do you got?
Dalton, we have several postings on the ASEAN Today Facebook page. Ikra said this: I like this program very much. Thank you for the great news. Thank you for watching, Ikra. Red Triana asked this: why do I have to wait another month to see all of ASEAN? Sorry about your frustration, but happy to hear that you're a loyal viewer. And Kyril posted this: I hope ASEAN can be the best organization in the world. We're working hard to do that, Kyril. Let us know what you're thinking. Please email us at aseantoday.tv@gmail.com. Post something on our Facebook page or tweet us at ASEAN Today TV.
All right, Dee, thank you very much. Nata?
Dalton and Dee, passenger aboard a recent flight from Australia to Malaysia got some special service. Virgin Group founder and CEO Richard Branson lost a bet to AirAsia chief Tony Fernandez. So Branson had to dress up as a flight attendant and deliver cocktails. The two men are former colleagues, and Branson looked comfortable in AirAsia red. This was also a charity flight, with some of the ticket revenue going to Australia's Starlight Foundation that helps kids in the hospital. I'm sure you'd also look good in stockings and false eyelashes, Dalton.
Yeah, right, Nata. Okay, in any case, that is ASEAN Today for this month. I'm Dalton Tanonaka of Indonesia's Metro TV at the ASEAN Secretariat in Jakarta.
And I'm Natha Komolwatin of Thai PBS in Bangkok. Thank you for joining us, and see you again next month.